Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Total lunar eclipse in Virgo. The struggle between discernment and surrender. One of Shakespeare's most profound explorations of discernment and surrender is found in Hamlet. Prince Hamlet is faced with a crisis of action and destiny, caught between his desire for justice and revenge and the need to trust the unfolding of fate. At the start, he overanalyzes everything, questioning reality, truth, and even his own instincts. His famous soliloquy, to be or not to be, is an exercise in discernment. Does he act rashly, or does he allow time and deeper wisdom to guide him? Yet, as the play progresses, Hamlet moves away from obsessive analysis and toward a more intuitive surrender. By the end, he utters a line that perfectly encapsulates the lesson of this eclipse. There is a divinity that shapes our ends. Rough-hew them how we will. Hamlet, Act 5, Scene 2. Here, Hamlet acknowledges that no matter how much we attempt to control, refine, or carve out our own paths, Virgo, there is a larger force, Pisces, at work, shaping things beyond our immediate grasp. This moment, right before his final confrontation, mirrors the Virgo Pisces axis we're all navigating. We must act with awareness and precision, Virgo, but ultimately, we must trust in the larger flow of life, Pisces. This eclipse is our moment to step out of the Hamlet like paralysis of overthinking and into the surrender of trusting that the universe, in its own way, is already shaping the outcome. Tilin, tilin. Last week, I wrote about the tension between being defined and refusing to be defined. You can read that piece here. When I started this blog in February 2022, I wasn't even thinking about subscriptions. I just wanted a place to share my writings, my perspectives, and how I see the world. Then, last year, I briefly considered the idea of a paid subscription. But now, I am back to not wanting to go that route at all. The reality is that most of you who support my work have done so through other means. Buying my book, booking a reading, or engaging with my work in ways that hold actual value. So, I decided to leave everything open and free. If you want to come here, take a peek, read something, enjoy it, share it or not, comment or not, I don't care. Because at this point, if you appreciate something, you'll show it in your own way. And if you don't understand what appreciation even means, that's not my problem. That's yours. What has changed is that I've started writing another book. The working title is The Art of Synthesis, and I've decided that this is where my best writing will go. This book will be the place where I weave together ideas, deep reflections, and the connections that truly matter. This blog, on the other hand, will become more like an open journal, a space for thoughts and explorations, but the deeper work will be saved for the book. So, what does that mean? It means that if you're here for my most synthesized, refined insights, you'll find them in my book when it's ready. For the current paying subscribers, no need to fret. I will be dropping preliminary chapters of my new book. I decided to leave my blog open because, frankly, I don't want you, my dear friend, to become my employer. You see, my work thrives under commission, where there's an established arrangement, clarity about what I'm going to deliver and what you, the client, will receive. Having subscribers pay me monthly creates anxiety for me, a subtle pressure that restricts my sense of freedom. It becomes difficult for me to decide what to place in front or behind the paywall. So, I'm returning to the model that works best for me. I work by commission. I have my time booked and I'm happy about that. However, if you feel moved to donate or to express your appreciation by supporting my upcoming book, which I plan to complete by the end of the year, I will gratefully accept your contributions or prepayments. If not, That's also perfectly okay. This again is about appreciation, but it's more about how you appreciate my work than how I do. I deeply appreciate you as a reader, and I'm committed to putting my energy and insights freely out into the world. Now, as we shift our gaze from the personal to the celestial, let's explore what this powerful eclipse means for all of us, both collectively and individually, and how we might navigate these transformative energies. Tilin, tilin. Culmination and shadows. Where do you need discernment and surrendering? This full moon total lunar eclipse in Virgo at 23 degrees is a culmination point. This is a South Node Virgo eclipse, meaning it applies to anyone with Virgo ruling that particular house in their chart. For me, personally, this eclipse is major. It happens in my 8th house, near but not conjunct my Pluto, making it even more significant because my biggest astrological signature is that I have to create a polarity point in the 2nd house. My vertex is in the 8th house, opposing my Chiron in the 2nd house, squaring my Venus. This is a direct lesson in negotiating my self worth, standing firm in what I bring to the table, recognizing when and how I engage with others, and ensuring that I do not yield to external definitions of value. But beyond my personal chart, this eclipse is a moment of discernment for everyone. With the South Node in Virgo, the challenge is to let go of excessive control, perfectionism, and analysis, and instead surrender to a Piscean trust, intuition, and a broader sense of connection. And what are we surrendering to? This massive Pisces stellium, the Sun, Neptune, Saturn, the North Node, and the upcoming Mercury and Venus retrograde back into Pisces. This is the gravitational pull of the entire chart. Whatever house this Pisces energy falls into for you is where you're being asked to surrender. But in order to do so, you must first let go with discernment in the house where this full moon eclipse lands. Tilin, tilin. Economics. 8 years ago, during the previous Venus retrograde cycle in the same place, I confronted the profound vulnerability symbolized by my Chiron in the 2nd house, an astrological placement revealing deep insecurities around self worth, money, and resources. I used to believe that earning, a word rooted in the Old English earnian, meaning to labor for, to merit, was merely about exchanging effort for survival, or what we call living, derived from Old English livian, meaning to remain alive. My previous mindset involved finding external sources to cover, Old French couvrir, to shield or protect. My sense of security, Latin securitas, freedom from anxiety, rather than cultivating inner abundance. Even the idea of purpose felt external, something to be chased, achieved, or fulfilled, as opposed to naturally aligning with my true design. Now, my Pluto polarity point has guided me precisely toward that self sustainability. I am my own well of wealth. Why do I say that? Because I finally understood that value is subjective. This is one of the axioms that I truly embodied through my studies in Austrian economics. If value is subjective, and if my time on earth is the most scarce asset I have, then how do I ensure my value is preserved and multiplied across time? This is where low time preference becomes crucial. It's about consciously acting with the future in mind, prioritizing sustainable growth over immediate gratification. This is precisely the topic I'll be exploring in my upcoming workshop at BitBlock Boom in Dallas next April. Reflecting on this, I ask you, are you drawn to communities promising new economic models without first deeply understanding what economy truly means? Or what money fundamentally is as a technology? Do you realize that the word economics originates from the Greek economia, meaning household management? Are you operating under the impression that profound systemic issues can be repaired through ignorance or good intentions alone? I have to admit that 8 years ago I was profoundly ignorant in these matters myself. It was only by confronting that ignorance and aligning authentically that I discovered true freedom, understanding, and abundance. We're all standing at that fork in the road right now. By the end of 2025, if you haven't done this inner and outer work, the toll many will pay will be extraordinarily high because without this deep understanding, you won't have the leverage to truly choose what is correct and aligned for you. We're moving into a time where people who understand value will move forward, and those who don't will be left scrambling. You can either define your own worth or let others define it for you. The choice has always been yours. Without understanding the technology of money and self worth, you remain vulnerable to distraction by other psychological operations. One of the biggest delusions is what the Federal Reserve and everything that happened since its inception has constructed value debasement, creating further enslavement. Last but not least, just as I offer astrological readings last week, I'm also offering study groups for anyone interested in deeply understanding economics through the lens of the Austrian school. These study sessions can be one on one, tailored to your pace and needs. You'll learn not only about the history of money and money as a technology, but also why Bitcoin represents the ultimate asset to invest your valuable time in, given its inherent scarcity. If this resonates with you or you simply like to learn more, let me know. I'm here to share what I've discovered. Footnote: I have opened all my past articles that were previously behind the paywall. They contain important information on what is transpiring from the lens of the skies. Tilin, tilin! The best way to understand the principle is through its opposites. At some point, you can allow the synthesis to emerge for what is needed in that specific moment. Eclipse in the first house, discernment. How are you defining yourself? Are you stuck in self criticism, constantly refining how others perceive you? Have you created such a rigid boundaries around your identity that you've become imprisoned by your own definitions? Surrender to the seventh house, Pisces. Allow relationships to reveal deeper truth about your identity. Trust that you don't have to be a perfectly defined version of yourself. In the mirror of others, you may discover aspects of yourself previously hidden from view. Eclipse in the seventh house. To discern. Are you losing yourself in relationships? Are you letting external expectations dictate your choices? Have you become so focused on harmony and connection that you've forgotten where others end and you begin? Surrender to reclaiming your individuality without guilt or apology. Remember that the most authentic partnerships arise from two whole beings choosing each other, not from two halves seeking completion. Eclipse in the second house. To discern. Are you holding on to financial or material stability out of the fear rather than the true value alignment? Surrender to embracing trust, interdependence, and deeper exchanges rather than clinging to control over resources. Eclipse in the eighth house. To discern. Are you negotiating from a place of strength or are you giving away your power? Surrender to standing firm on your self worth, allowing trust to replace control. Eclipse on the third house. To discern. Are you overloading yourself with information and analysis without truly absorbing wisdom? Surrender to trusting your intuition and direct experience rather than relying solely on logic. Eclipse in the ninth house. To discern. Are you clinging to what you think you know, refusing to explore beyond your comfort zone? Surrender to embracing curiosity and adaptability rather than rigid beliefs. Eclipse in the fourth house. To discern. Are you clinging to outdated definitions of home and security? Surrender to the 10th house. Step into a new role in the world beyond the comforts of the past. Eclipse in the 10th house. To discern. Are you defining success by external validation rather than your deeper purpose? Surrender aligning your work with emotional and spiritual fulfillment. Eclipse in the fifth house to discern. Are you seeking validation from others instead of cultivating joy for yourself? Surrender to the 11th house. Your creativity is meant to serve something greater. Eclipse in the 11th house to discern. Are you surrounding yourself with people and ideals that no longer resonate? Have your communities become echo chambers rather than spaces for growth? Are you holding on to outdated visions of the future because they're comfortable, even though they no longer inspire you? Surrender to prioritizing authentic self expression rather than groupthink. Allow your unique creative force to guide you toward the collectives that truly nourish your spirit and purpose. Eclipse in the sixth house to discern, are you daily habits truly supporting you, or are you micromanaging your well being? Surrender to the 12th house. Let go of excessive structure and allow yourself to listen to your body's needs rather than imposing control. Eclipse in the 12th house to discern. Are you escaping into fantasy or refusing to integrate spiritual insights into daily life? Surrender to the 6th house. Ground your visions into action and allow practical steps to support your inner journey. Tiling, tiling. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it not be to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Hamlet, Act 5, Scene 2. For me, this eclipse is a direct lesson in negotiation. Am I clear on what I'm worth? Am I willing to stop compromising in places, partnerships that don't honor my value? Are you engaging with my content in a way that brings you value? Do you want me to explore more on appreciation and negotiation? Is this something you'd like me to reflect on in the future? Let me know in the comments. Have you been using discernment? Venus is still retrograde, thus values are on the spot. Mercury will trace the same retrograde steps next week. Sun and Saturn, if it feels restrictive, make the limit become your support. Make a plan, create a strategy, even in Pisces. The polarity point is Virgo, discernment. I am seeing these transits as so positive. Mercury turning retrograde to leave things clear or postpone until the end of the cycle. I wonder where you find yourself right now on your journey. Perhaps in a moment of uncertainty, doubt, or perhaps questioning what you thought you knew. Have you taken time to check in with your inner wisdom? Since the nodes change signs, what have you let go of what no longer serves you? What old patterns have you finally released? Or are you still looking outside of yourself for answers, believing someone else holds the truth you're seeking? I'm not here to prescribe your path. I'm simply offering a space for reflection, a chance to recognize your own capacity for discernment and growth. The choice, as always, remains yours. My focus is how I respond to my own reality. This eclipse is a moment of culmination, a moment to recognize what's yours and what never was. My eighth house forces me to release attachment to what I thought I needed from others. And sometimes that release is what allows the right connections to emerge. Tiling, tiling. The choice of perspective, finding hope in transition. There are always two ways to see things, through the lens of optimism, hope, and there's always something that I can do, or through the lens of doom, disillusionment, and chaos. Which way do you want to stand? So here it goes. How to keep optimistic when you turn on the news and everything seems to be imploding, or you look at the markets and you see that everything is collapsing. Well, I've been talking about this being the end of an era, so this shouldn't come as a surprise. What is surprising is that a lot of people are still whining about it. That's when I see that there's no hope. As Viktor Frankl wrote, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. This eclipse calls us to that precise moment of realization where we recognize that the true power lies not in controlling external chaos, but in choosing our response to it. The old structures are falling away, not to leave us adrift, but to reveal what has always been ours to claim: the authority to define our own worth in a world that is being reborn. Tilin, tilin.
Everything changed for me when I understood this philosophy. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's the simple philosophy that changed my life forever starting age 25. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fine. I didn't mind working hard on my job, but things didn't seem to change that much. Then I started working hard on myself to qualify. So let me put it in a philosophical phrase now. This is worth the price of whatever it costs for you to be here today. Here it is. Success is something you attract. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by becoming attractive. And the whole scope of this we call now personal development. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. If you can multiply your value by 3, by 5, you can easily multiply your income by 3, by 5, by 10. But the key to doing it is to work hard on yourself. Be responsible, be a growing, attractive, powerful, skillful, communicating human being. And the world belongs to you.
Jim Ron. Tilin, tilin. Last but not least, quote, the moment you accept the idea as a fact, it is made flesh. When you doubt it, you are delaying the process. Doubt is simply not believing in the reality of your assumption. Neville Goddard. Have a great week.